Yes, Rika.
Myself. Hi, good morning.
Good
Rick,
morning.
yes.
Hi, Rika.
Um,
Where are you calling from?
I'm from Colorado.
Okay, good.
I have a couple of questions. I would love to hear a little bit more about your perspective on the essence of Christianity and what it is about Christianity that you would maybe shy away from. I know you say you call yourself a closeted Sufist. Um,
Sufi, yeah.
yeah, non-dualist, those kinds of things. And what about Christianity um, keeps you from that specific understanding of things with Jesus as this concrete mentor of non-dualism? I am wanting, striving to truly shine in every moment with
That's a
God and
that's a beautiful intention. That's a perfect intention. Uh, that is always my intention. In the early days, you asked me how did I what did I do in the early days? I would literally I would write on my bathroom mirror, uh, remember God's presence, so that even first thing in the morning, in case lest I should forget, as soon as I looked in the mirror, I didn't see my own face first. I saw this call to remember God's presence first, and I would do little things like this all the time to remind myself.
which is
So
what I'm doing, those kinds of things. So,
that's perfect. And
so
you said earlier I'm a closet Sufi. I'm a closet Christian mystic. The core of the Christian teaching is the remembrance of God's presence. The practice of that was the book I was looking for you. It's upstairs. I'm rereading it at the moment. One of my favorite books, The Practice of the Presence of God, about a 16th century monk, Brother Lawrence. Beautiful, beautiful book that you would like. I think you'd love it. And it's a book just about a man who just made a simple decision early on in his life when he went into a monastery that he would just do everything for the love of God. There's a beautiful passage in the book. It says, "I live my life as if only me and God exist." He said, "There is nothing else in my life apart from God's presence. Everyone and everything is only that. And I do nothing that isn't for the glory and gratitude of God." And that was his only practice. And he even, there's a beautiful passage in the book where he was giving God praise for all his moments of suffering, because it was in his moments of suffering that he attended most passionately to God's presence. But he noticed that as he carried on, I'm sorry, I'd like to read you this passage. It's the book's not here, but he noticed that as he carried on, he became happier and happier as a result of his practice. But instead of being happy by that, he said, "I felt that God had deceived me. I felt that I remonstrated with God. I felt that God had taken away my suffering, and that it was in my suffering that I felt closest to God. But all that happened is I became happier and happier." And he said, this just such a sweet thing. I felt that God had deceived me. Anyway, it's a beautiful book. I recommend it. It's called The Practice of the Presence of God. I got a translation. I think it's by someone called Matelock, but there are various translations of it. But it's about it, and it's really the essence of the Christian. In fact, it's the essence of all the traditions. It's the essence, certainly, of the Sufi tradition. It's the essence of the Vedantic tradition. Remember, Vyasa, who wrote the Bhagavad Gita, said, "I have made a critical study of all the scriptures several times, and the gist of all that I have found is that one should hold God in one's heart and in one's mind at all times and under all circumstances." It's the essence of all the traditions. if God, of course, the religious name for the ultimate reality, if everything and everyone is only an appearance of that, then what else is there to give one's love and attention to? I'm not suggesting that it's not appropriate to give one's love and attention to individual people and objects. Of course it is, but not to let the multiplicity and diversity of objects themselves to obscure God's presence. On the contrary, to treat everyone and everything as it was as if it were shining, not as if it were shining, shining as that being, shining as God's presence, and to treat everything as that. So yes, it's the essence of the Christian teaching. Of course, it's not what you find in the Christian church now. So that's why I departed from Christianity, because I couldn't find this understanding. It was only much later, after I had been through the Vedantic and Sufi traditions, that I revisited my roots in the Christian tradition and found in these early writings that a lot of this understanding is there. So yes, I would encourage you to, if you feel a leaning towards the Christian tradition, I would encourage you to pursue it. It's all there in the tradition.
That's what I found as well after having shunned and hated the Christian tradition for a long time. I've come back and been like, oh my gosh, it's been written here. Oh, it's here.
Yes. Meister Eckhart, Jakob Boehmer. There is so many people in the tradition.
Thank you for that book. I will go buy it today and look forward to reading it. Thank you.
Nice to see you, Ricky. I wish you the best.